My name is Clementina. I am a London slash New York based artist making pop R&B music, alt pop R&B. I have an album coming out actually tonight, midnight. Technically, it's coming out June 21st, but it's set for midnight, so it's technically tonight. It's called She. It's an album. It's a coming of age album about my experience in my early 20s, navigating relationships, growth, and ambition. And I'm super excited to be here.
Well, I'm so glad to have you here today. I am so excited for you at this moment. The fact that it's literally going to be dropping tonight, Friday. How excited are you at this moment?
Very excited. I'm actually a little bit anxious, like, because it's my first album, it's my debut album. So I obviously I hope people are gonna like it. I hope people are gonna listen to it. But I'm super excited. I've been working on this album for literally 5 years. So basically knowing that it's coming out tonight, finally, after so many years, is incredibly exciting.
And you know, from what I've gathered so far, because I have the pleasure of listening to it, it is a beautiful album. Uh, Start to finish, I'm like thoroughly impressed for this being your debut album.
Thank you.
So when it came down to like writing these songs, was there like a particular person in mind when you were writing certain songs, or was it just more of just feelings that you had throughout the years?
Um, it's both. There's a bunch of songs about different situations and different people. There are a bunch of songs that I wrote actually about a specific experience, which was dating someone that wasn't the best for me. And so these particular songs, there's like I think four or something like that. Those are about a specific person. But there's also a bunch of songs that are just kind of about my my reflections about myself and how I react to certain situations and how I am or um, some of my thoughts. So it's honestly really diverse. But what kind of ties them all together is definitely the fact that all of these emotions, feelings are I think pretty common among people who are in their early 20s and kind of just like figuring it all out. And like everyone at some point, usually in your 20s, goes through like one of your first major heartbreaks or dealing with like ambition and like maybe expecting too much from yourself or maybe like not being able to appreciate what you've done so far or the little things. So yeah, that's kind of like what ties them all together. But each song is kind of like a different situation, and might not be talking about a specific person, but um, yeah.
So I am curious, with that in mind, you know, gosh, I think what the biggest question I have is the choice of having She be the album title name. How did that kind of, how did you decide, that's going to be the title of the album?
Um, that's a good question. I was going through different title drafts, and I wanted it to be named after um, ideally one of the songs on the album. And considering that my mission in general is to really empower women, I thought She was the perfect title for this album because it's pretty short, it's sweet. One of the songs is also titled She, and I thought me being a young woman and having this whole mission about empowering women to basically embrace their own journey and narrative. Um, I thought She was kind of like a perfect name that would include all of everything that I just said. So my mission, the topics that I write about, my experience. Um, yeah.
Though I do know that it was, mixed and produced by someone who's also featured in your album, which was Jake Tavel.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
Um, Jake Tavel is actually a really good friend of mine. I met him in New York at this songwriting workshop that I was a part of. But we actually didn't really start working together until one of my co-writers introduced us. And we started working on one of the songs on the album, actually back in 2019, which was Bubble. It's gonna be the last song on the album. It's a song I wrote about basically kind of like getting too much in my head about social media and just feeling that kind of separation from reality and social media in a way. And I wrote this song with an amazing co-writer, Terrell Kaiser, who also co-wrote another song on the album, Keep Around. And so we were looking for a producer, and Terrell was on the same team as Jake, and he introduced us, and that's basically how I met Jake.
Ooh, okay. So, and with that in mind, you also have a song together, which is Happy. Um, I'm curious in terms of the writing process for that because you've written a couple songs by yourself, wise, with the exception for Bubble. How did the dynamic between you two work out lyrically wise?
So Happy is an interesting song because I actually initially wrote it just for myself. Um, and and later on, as we were recording it, I kind of thought that it would be cool to have Jake sing it because I thought this is the only song on the album that has like kind of like a more organic sound. Because every other song I think sounds a little bit more modern, but Happy is one of these songs that we actually used a lot of actual instruments recorded in the studio as opposed to like samples and synths. And that's kind of Jake's style. Jake is also an artist. He's not just a producer and engineer, he's also an incredible artist. So, and he's a funk jazz artist. So I thought it would be the perfect song for him to be featured on. And so he agreed and recorded the vocals. Yeah. So we honestly, it was super smooth because the song was already written. It was pretty straightforward. He just kind of went into the studio and recorded it. We didn't really change anything from
Oh, okay.
um, how it sounded originally. It was the same words, same lyrics, same melody. Um, he just recorded the second verse instead of it being by me.
Okay, I
But
was
we
kind of
also,
curious that.
but we also layered harmonies, and I think this song just became so much more interesting because of him being on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, because it that song was definitely on my list of like favorites, and I wanted to talk about it because I know that you guys are going to be doing a album release party together
Yeah,
um over at the West Hampton um on July 6th, which is a little too far from album date wise, but it's not too far
yeah,
off. So are you
yeah.
excited for, let's see, is this your like first big performance wise or
I've performed a lot before COVID. Since COVID, I've been doing mainly acoustic shows. So yeah, basically this is my first full band show in a while. Super excited about it. I'm gonna be headlining it. Actually, Jake is gonna be opening for me. And yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about it. I'm also a little bit nervous, um, but I think it's going to be great.
I think you're gonna do fantastic. And you've already did a few little live performances on YouTube for In Love and She. Um, I'm curious with that kind of in mind, are you planning on doing any kind of music videos for this album?
Um, Potentially in the future, I don't have anything lined up for now. But definitely, I think there might be a bunch of songs like She that I might maybe film a music video to. But for now, I have like four live vocal performances, and I've released two so far. There's two more coming post album release, so stay tuned.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So,
I actually the reason why I decided to do that as opposed to a regular music video was because I thought voice is kind of like my main thing. It's my main instrument and it's something I've been studying since I was 12, so it's definitely my strength. And I thought that as an independent artist introducing myself into the world, I thought it would make me stand out a little bit more, just kind of like highlighting my biggest strength, which is singing live. So that's kind of why I decided to do that.
honestly, it's kind of like a great move too, because it allows everybody to kind of see you in a more, say, raw form.
Yeah, definitely.
What is something you enjoyed that most people would be surprised to find out?
Hmm. Um, I mean, actually, I am very passionate about technology and Web3. And I think a lot of people don't realize that, but I've been working a lot in the tech and Web3, um, and even music tech um, industry. So I guess that might be one of the things that I enjoy doing that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, I was kind of curious. I'm so glad you brought it up because I was going to figure out how to put it in here. So you've created this whole Fem Squad program, which I thought was so cool to see, and kind of been roaming around the Instagram page to check out more about it. But for those who don't know, what is Fem Squad or Squared?
Fem Squared. Yeah, so Fem Squared is a digital collective that focuses on empowering Gen Z women on social media through storytelling. And I started it in 2020, basically because of my personal experience kind of struggling with social media. Also, at the time, I think it's worth mentioning that it was TikTok wasn't really a thing at the time, and it was mainly Instagram, and everything that you saw on Instagram was very curated and very kind of like fake. And I've talked to so many people, my friends who felt the same way that social media kind of brings them down emotionally and when it comes to mental health. So I decided to start this platform where I would basically share stories from women who were my friends, but then later on I reached out to them through my friends, so they were friends of friends, and we shared stories from them. They would basically answer one question, which was, what do you find, what are you most proud of about yourself, whether it's personal or professional achievement? And then soon after, Fem Squared kind of turned into this platform that would host a series of online events. We did like a lot of networking events or educational events with women from various industries, from music to arts to tech. And the biggest event that I've hosted in 2021 was a STEAM conference. So it was basically a conference that invited over 20 female speakers from 6 different tech engineering fields, and hosted panels and workshops for over 500 girls and women aged 13 to 30.
It's amazing. I'm curious, like, how did you decide to, create create this community? Like, what was like the main drive?
Well, I think initially the main drive was just my personal experience, kind of um, seeing how social media affect my mental health and also like people that are younger than me. So I kind of wanted to do something about it. I didn't want every woman to feel um, like they're not enough, or they they can never live up to the society's expectations of what there should be, or um, like what they should be doing, what they should look like. So that was kind of the initial idea. But then eventually, I think I just wanted to um, use it as a platform for people to connect and network and meet other people, like-minded people. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what inspired it. Um, Plus, yeah, I've always been um, very into like connecting with people and meeting new people. So I thought helping women do that, especially because 2020 was the very beginning of the pandemic. So a lot of people kind of needed the connection and like needed to meet other people. And it was much easier to do it online because everybody was kind of, that was kind of the only thing that you could do.
Yeah,
So that's kind of what inspired it.
it's awesome. I'm like thoroughly impressed over here. Like the fact that you can create something like that along with with a festival like that.
Thanks.
That's insane. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm over here being like, I don't even think I can have the willpower to set up like that an event like that. All right,
Thank
here.
you.
So I'll do one last one, which is describe your perfect day.
My perfect day. So I usually start my day with making myself matcha latte, which I love. That's a fun fact about me. I am obsessed with matcha latte. And I also actually started to meditate recently, so that's how I start my day too. Um, and then well, my perfect day would probably be Um, like a day when I don't have to work for a living every day. So I would definitely include, starting a day with maybe writing a song, going for a walk. I love walking, literally miles, around the city, and I listen to a lot of music while I walk. So that would be also make it to my perfect day. Um, and I love hanging out with my friends, so I would love to finish that day maybe with like a friendly dinner, or something like that.
Love that. And I'm curious, out of this album that's going to be out now, by the time I post this, what song would be the best song to listen to while you're walking outside?
It depends on your mood. If you're feeling kind of like nostalgic, or sad, then I would say "In Love" is a great song because it's like one of my personal songs, honestly. I wrote it literally like a week after I broke up with someone. So if you're feeling that kind of vibe, In Love is the way to go. However, if you're feeling maybe like more excited or energetic, then I would say either She or On the Low or Distance, because these are probably um, some of my more like upbeat songs on the album.
Ooh. So we'll see who gets what song on their playlist on their walk. In the meantime, now we got the album pretty much out now, tonight,
Yeah.
tomorrow, wherever. Um, and then you got your album release party on July 6th. I guess my favorite question to always ask is, where can we be able to find you?
So you can find me on literally any platform. I'm on Instagram, on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and everywhere my handle is my name, Klemntyna, Klemntyna. You can also find me on my website, clementina.com. And obviously, you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, any of the audio streaming services you're using.